becomes uneconomical to go from here further on that direction, it looks like to me they'd be moving that direction.
Eventually they'll be moving it into.
Yes. And as I said, if that's okay, council, on our next ODAC meeting, we can discuss it and bring it back to you.
I want to recognize Sandy.
Yes.
Councilman Cole, you talked about traffic, but could you expound on that too much? Where was the traffic that you're?
Well, there was, several months ago, the mayor brought it to my attention that there was some complaints about the stopping, well, basically it's any of the streets on this side of First Street. So south heading north, trying to pull out on the First Street because of the parking that we have, people not being able to see until they get out in the traffic flow. So we've been looking at different ways to mediate that problem. Now that it's been brought to our attention, we feel like we should do something about it. And several answers have been either do nothing, put a stop sign on First Street. But now we're starting to fine tune that into some, I think, some really good ideas that we're just not ready to come public with. But I think it'll be pretty impressive.
Well, and Sandy's actually more up on it. I spoke with her and you know, just to get some input from her. And actually, real fast, we've talked about bump outs. And the other piece that the chief and I have talked about is back-in parking. Okay? Back-in parking. It's back-in parking, what that does is it does help mitigate some of your problems because you're looking over hoods instead of trying to look through canopies, the back lanes, you're looking across hoods and bump outs. Yeah. And the safety piece on that is when children get out of a vehicle that's backed in, they run to the sidewalk, not to the road. Okay, that's one of them. Number two, when you pull out, you're facing this way, and you get to see what's coming from the left and what's coming from the right. So clearance is there. Okay, so that is something I'm going to be bringing to the Community Services Committee as an idea.
Should that also
I'm not sure that would, oh, excuse me.
And the Planning Commission.
So,
would that also something that should be shared with the Public Safety
yeah,
Committee?
it's actually a public safety
That's
issue.
what I was thinking.
Well, it's planning / public safety, and he is working with me on it. So you will both get it, or maybe we do it both at the same
Well,
time.
that's what I was thinking. Maybe we should have a collaboration.
So hopefully,
What's a bump out?
pardon?
What's a bump out?
So for example, right where the stop sign is at, just a small curve that loops out about 10, 12 feet, and then you move your stop sign out. So instead of having stop and creeping out, you're already out there. Okay, so you're already out, you're 10 feet, and you've got clearance left to right. And of course, if the vehicles are backed in, you're looking over hoods, and it looks nicer. So the aesthetics is really nice on it also.
Yeah, I don't.
So, looks good.
My wife just took driving.
It's like having. All right, have we beat that up enough?
Yep.
Let's move on to public safety.
Our next meeting will be May 7th at 12. We changed the time to 12:30, so Christine can pick up her child at the start. So 12:30. So when you post that, you can change that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is it possible for y'all to do May 3rd when we have our meeting? Because that's when we plan on having some stuff ready to go to present.
Ask the police chief. He was going to be gone. Are you going to still be gone then?
Yeah, my wife's having surgery, and
Yeah,
I'm the one
he's
that's
not
going to be able to
gonna
help
be
her
here
for about
Okay.
4 or 5 days.
Or maybe what I can do after I present to them, I could be there on the 7th.
Okay.
Okay. Audit committee, we didn't have a meeting. We're coming into the budget period now where they should become a little more active. Because there'll be things to look at. However, I do believe that the audit committee, we need to revisit our reason for existing. And now maybe Dawn remembers, but I don't, what we're supposed to be doing, and maybe Susan. But we need to get that either dug out and revamped, because right now it's kind of a committee that's uncertain of what it's supposed to be doing. even though it's an important committee. And since we're coming into the budget period now, I think we should all be pretty familiar with what the purpose of the committee is and what we're supposed to be doing. Plus, Christine hasn't had an opportunity yet to even be in one of the meetings.
Our next one is scheduled for the same night as the supplemental budget hearing.
Yeah, we know that.
Okay.
Too many meetings. All right. So, Lane Council Governments Board,
No report.
no report. Chamber of Commerce, Ray Clark.
Meeting will be Monday, the 22nd at Big Mountain.
Yes, it will.
No.
Middle Fork Watershed Council, they didn't have a meeting. Goats, Jim Coey.
There was a meeting. Would you like to share some things, Ben? I think take notes. I think that might,
We just had our regular meeting. We have a lot of events coming up, including regular hikes and trail work parties. Coming up next month, we have the Westford Train, which has been a long annual tradition that I think a lot of the community doesn't know about. That's put on by High Cascade Forest Run volunteers. That Goats is a partner in. That brings 100 people for a weekend to get free trail training. We're just kind of an assist partner in that.
Is that over Westridge, Ben?
It's at Westridge, different at Westridge. We've been working on a number of grants, including all the ones for room tax. Getting ready for tree planting and the IMBA Regional Summit will be here in Oak Ridge this October, 11th, 12th, and 13th. That'll bring 100 or so, 150 regional leadership in the mountain bike world to Oak Ridge for the weekend, which should be a big event. We're assisting in that as the host community. Other than that, it was just kind of boring stuff of creating committees and getting people to fill those roles.
Okay, thank you. Tree planting committee?
Tree planting is coming up very soon. If anyone knows of someone who wants to have a float, they should put in an application because we haven't had very many come in so far. The princesses are making their rounds. Community Arts Fair is just going. Dinner theater, as I said. Tickets are available at Postal Pharmacy, COS Law Bank, Oak Ridge Real Estate. And everyone comes out and helps with the tree planting. They're also, if they have enough volunteers, going to do some blackberry removal and stuff like that. So come on down and help with that, which is this Sunday. Mini Olympics are free this year, and people can sign up their kids beforehand, which is great because the start is always a little hectic. And the museum will be open from 10 to 4 with a new display on the history of the Tree Planting Festival. That's pretty much it.
Alrighty. Library board?
Oh, library board. We talked about the mural that they want to have painted on the wall in the children's story area. They're going to put a request for proposals out. They've already gotten one from the Community Arts Cooperative, but they'd like to put it out for any individuals who might be interested as well. I saw a mock-up of what the Community Arts Cooperative is bringing forward, and it looks great. But we're going to wait and see if we have any other interest before we move ahead with that. I brought to them that they should start thinking of their strategic plan goals because apparently they hadn't brought anything forward yet. So the board is going to work on that and also on their budget. We have a rough draft of library policies that the board is going to look through and critique. I helped them make that, so they'll get it back to me and we'll have that out soon. I wanted to know if we had any sort of rules and duties for the library board anywhere. I couldn't find anything, and I didn't know if anyone knew if I should continue to search.
Well, I had the same question when I was there, and nobody seemed to know either.
So I'm sure more than likely they're operating under state statute, so nothing says that that you cannot develop some rules.
Okay. I just don't know exactly how I'm supposed to guide them, because I don't really know exactly what they're supposed to do.
Well, primarily, they have a chair, whoever the chair is, okay, and most of the time, the council are the cheerleaders for these different committees and boards. So basically, to encourage.
I need to quit trying to guide and just encourage.
Well, no, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, but, you know, and allow the chair to try and do their thing. You know, guide the chair, there's nothing wrong with that. They still gotta ultimately vote, so.
I'll look at the state statutes.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure operating under state statute at this time, and you'll be surprised how many there are for libraries.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them already.
But I can look, I'll look at my files and see if I have anything.
Okay, that would be great. And that's it.
Okay, thanks. Hudak? You making that report, Ernie or Jim?
Ernie.
Hmm?
I don't know of anything.
We never
They're
have,
working on the sign, I know that.
Oh, okay.
we're trying to hold
Can I
on,
report on the sign?
no, we're trying to hold on till Larry gets back, he's supposed to come back next week or something like that. John's on vacation right now, I think, for a couple of days. So he didn't have nothing to do, there's a word about maybe, you know,
Okay,
maybe we'll get something to do.
go ahead, Louis.
In regards to the sign, we've ordered the signs. What they are, these are 4-foot by 8-foot signs. I believe I sent those to the council. So we have ordered the signs. The only change is on the left-hand corner, it does have the city logo. Okay, so just
Which one?
the one that I sent you, number 2.
Okay.
Number 2, and the only change is it has a logo on the left-hand corner. And those are 4-foot by 8-foot, so they're big. And I've already spoke with Chuck, so once those signs come in, he will have posts, and they will be mounted to this plywood, and it will be set out. I believe the discussion was near Industrial Way by the highway. That's where we're talking, am I correct? Was that the spot for the sign? Okay. So that's where we're at with the sign. And we have a meeting on the 29th with a rep from the state of Oregon for economic development. I believe his name is Sean Stevens, and the Lane County director for economic development will also be up on the 29th.
What day is 79?
Yeah, the 29th. Yes, so-
29?
yes, and so
That's
we,
what, 10 a.m.?
10 a.m. We'll be having a meeting with those folks. And also, of course, economic development dollars will be the big topic.
Where at, bud? Where you gonna be at? Here?
Now, we haven't set a place,
Hmm.
so I'll get that set, Councilman.
What's the sign going to advertise?
The sign's going to advertise the opportunities that the industrial park can give different folks. For example, let them have truck stop on there, aquaculture, you remember the rest?
Office space. Or
Okay, yeah, office space, manufacturing space, those kind of things. There's about 6 different items. And it's something that we haven't done. The other piece is as the website gets updated, we hope to have something like that on the website. I mean, that jumps out at you, you know. So it's just something we haven't done, something we need to start doing, is advertising ourselves. So that's okay.
Regional Collaborative Consortium?
No.
Area Commission on Transportation, yes, I did attend that meeting. It was on the 10th. Quite a bit of discussion took place around the projects that are coming up. One thing that's coming up, or one thing that's in process, is a group called the South Valley Regional Solutions Center. This is a group that will help folks with projects. They won't do the project, but they'll not come in to facilitate them. Maybe you've heard about that already. The other thing I found interesting is there's a movement right now to get high-speed rail into Eugene area from Eugene to Vancouver, BC. information on where those lines will be, and right now it's in the study stage. It's gonna cost a lot of money. Some of the places are gonna put in new track, or that's a proposal. Some of the places they will use existing track. It's called the Oregon Passenger Rail Project. It's actually there's actually 3 or 4 routes that they're showing. So it's not one that's going to necessarily use Union Pacific tracks. It's one that they're talking about putting in their own high-speed rail tracks for this high-speed train. And high speed is somewhere around 200 miles an hour, so it won't take you long to be in Vancouver, BC. And if you've ever ridden on a high-speed train, it's interesting. You don't look out the window this way, you look out the window this way. They do that in Japan. Other than that, that was the only thing I noticed of note. There was a lot of talk about some of the projects coming up. Some of the thing they're talking about now is more access to federal land. There's a Highway 36 paving project coming up. It's paving and striping Little River Trail. And as you've already noticed, there's also a project down the road here working on this Second Creek Bridge. We're probably slated for 2015 for some projects here in Oak Ridge. We'll know more about that after the 30th of this month when we meet with ODOT.
And there's a time change, it's 10 a.m. instead of 1:30. So
10.
10.
All right. Lane Economic Committee. Oh, wait a minute. Parks, Trails, and Tree Committee.
They were supposed to have a meeting last night and it was canceled.
Lane Economic Committee, I attended that this week. Frankly, I didn't get much out of it, but a lot of the things they're talking about were sort of more into the core of the area of the county. They did have an individual there from Medford to tell us how great Medford was, but other than that, I didn't get a lot out of that, so I don't have a lot to report. Is there anything else coming before the council? Yes.
If I may. Last Tuesday at the Kiwanis Club meeting, Mayor Shorey and I were there, and 2 young men who are students at the University of Oregon and are working on a project to bring a mobile, what do you call it? A
Mobile medical unit.
Mobile medical van.
Mobile medical van
Yes.
to, well, they're all over the Northwest, but the pilot is going to be out of Oak Ridge. And I don't know, do you want to say anything more about what they had to present to us?
No, they will be making a presentation to the council.
Oh.
So I did invite them to make a presentation to the council, same presentation. Sounds pretty exciting. The whole idea is just to target people that are low income and senior citizens, Medicare, Medicaid type people, which we have a few of. And I encourage them to contact the local provider, Edwin, and maybe they can work in conjunction with him, because a lot of those people don't go to Edwin because he's really not, the federal government is cutting that back so much on Medicare that it's becoming more of a problem for the providers than it is a cut. And on that subject, Louis and I met with Nancy Pierce from Peter Fazier's office this week, Tuesday, I guess. And we acquainted her with not only this project, but also the railroad stuff that we're talking about, and our medical problems. She was here because I had mentioned to Representative Plaza when I was in Washington that we had issues here in Oak Ridge, and so he sent her up here to find out what those issues were. I mentioned the medical and railroad, and just some of the highlighted some of the things.
And of course, the ambulance and how Medicare affects us there.
Yes, that was one of the main things, is because the ambulance is being plundered by Medicare to where they put us into a different rating area for our mileage, rural.
Super rural, we're super rural right now,
Yeah.
and they want to push us to rural, which would kill us.
Yeah.
Okay, and we learned that it was the census, not Medicare, who does that So we learned something that we weren't aware of. And the last thing that we asked the mayor was if there was going to be any dollars for school resource officer programs also. Just the other piece.
So she took this information back to her boss, and maybe we'll hear something, and at least it's out there, so if we work it from both ends, maybe we'll finally start getting things. And also, I've talked to Senator Wyden, staffer, about the same thing, so, we've also talked to Bruce Hannon and Prozansky, our local legislative people, so they're all hearing stuff about Oak Ridge, and they sound pretty positive. If there's nothing else.
Mr. Mayor, I have
Yes,
one
ma'am.
website update.
Oh.
I've gotten my proposal to Jackie and Susan, who will have a lot of work to do on the website upgrade, and we set a time to do a webinar with a company that we think is a good option. So we're gonna do that and see what they think, and then we'll be able to probably bring something a little more definite to the council.
So once you all get all that done, come on, stuff with me so we can write up an agenda bill, dollars and all that kind of stuff.
That's what some of your TIT money.
Yep.
All right, if there's nothing else, meeting's adjourned.